It's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm getting ready to install a the rail oil cooler for the transmission fluid. Transmission, same thing. But here's the part number that I ordered. I ordered it from eTrailer. I also ended up buying another install kit just because the hose that came with it is so short. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and start tearing it apart. We're about to begin to start taking this bumper off. The first thing you have to do is take all these little clips in the air intake. Pop this off, pop that off. There's going to be a couple of clips on the bottom and a couple of bolts. They're all 10 millimeter. There's also these two screws that you got to take off. You don't have to move your wheel for that. It just comes off fairly easy. Depending on how much plastic pieces you still have left underneath. Mine doesn't have all that. I took it all off just to kind of help the car breathe better. So I only had like 6 clips and 4 bolts. So it fairly came up pretty quick. I didn't record taking it off just because I need both of my hands to support the bumper so it doesn't straight smack down and hit the ground. So, but there are a lot of videos on how to take that off. So, like I said, it's fairly easy. It just all depends on how much plastic pieces you have underneath. Let's get to it. Okay, I went ahead and mounted the oil cooler. The provided piece was a zip tie style. Basically, you just enter it here. In between the condenser and the cooler, you will need to put the foam pad and then the locking tab on the other side and then cut it off. It's pretty secure, it's not going anywhere. Don't over tighten it too much, just enough to secure it. That's how it should look like once it's all mounted. I went ahead and cleaned it up a little bit. But anyway, that's what it looks like. I already got the hoses mounted. I'm getting ready to run it inside the cabin or inside the engine bay and get it all hooked up to the line. For this step, I used a step drill bit with a long attachment. I went ahead and drilled 2 holes right here. It's much easier than trying to Dremel it out because the instruction says you have to take the bumper off just to Dremel that out, and that's a little bit more work than what I want to do. So 2 holes is kind of sufficient, plus it looks better. That's what it looks like. But yeah, use one of these step drill bits, makes it a lot easier. For this step, I went ahead and took the battery off because I will be replacing the external trans cooler filter. So it's just best to kind of take off the battery. It's a lot easier. This was held by a 10 millimeter. Obviously I took the battery off, self-explanatory, 2 terminal posts. You will have these clips right here. They push outward and then you pull the locking tab off. You will be removing this, and then there will be 4 bolts. There's one underneath this, that one, and that one. You need to take this completely off to access the filter underneath and then run all your lines. Like I said, the manufacturer suggested to do it from the bottom, which is easier for them without taking all this off, but to me this is a lot easier in general and a lot faster to do. Now that I got the battery tray box removed, see how much easier it is to access everything. Where you will be putting the transmission cooler aftermarket one in line with is the one up top, and then this part right here where it connects to where my finger is. So it'll basically go from here to the cooler and then back here. Here's the part number for that trans cooler. Like I said, mine is a 2014. I had and removed the bracket that's holding this filter. All it was just 3 10 millimeter bolt holding it in. Once you get that taken out, obviously you got to loosen the hose on the bottom, and you won't need this line since that's where the aftermarket oil cooler will be going in between. So just take this off, the one on the bottom, and then you don't need this top one right here, so you can cut that however you want. With the filter, this is kind of what it would look like. Like I said, you don't need the top line, only the one on the bottom, as you can see right there. I'm just kind of letting this drain a little bit, so please have something handy underneath because it will leak a little bit. So yeah, that's the old one. Yeah, I went ahead and got everything plumbed. These are the two aftermarket trans cooler lines. As mentioned, it goes to that one right there, and then it goes back to the top of the filter, and I just kind of secured it, make it look nice, and that's all it is. So I got everything done, as you can see. When I was looking at the instructions from the manufacturer, they had the line just cut out, flapping around on a hole, so it was touching part of the condenser for the AC. So what I did was, see how like the gap is, I zip tied it to this plastic piece, that way it would not touch this part right here. Also zip tied it to the power steering cooling line just to lessen the chance of it moving around. Not sure if you can see, but that's what it looks like once the battery is all put back, and pretty much the whole job is completed. That's what it should look like once you got everything mounted. I'm sorry for the background noise. They are doing some concrete work at my neighbor's house, so it kind of gives you a general idea. It's all mounted, doesn't move around or anything like that. Overall, it's not too bad and it's not too hard.